The night I died, it was minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's not where the story begins.
Please, Jason, open the door. I'm begging you.
My voice was barely a whisper, torn apart by the screaming wind. My hands were numb, my legs shaking uncontrollably as I pounded weakly against the metal door.
I'm going to die out here.
Inside, through the frosted glass, I could see them. Jason Miller stood just a few feet away, his hand still resting on the lock. But he wouldn't look at me. Behind him, Chloe Bennett was wrapped in my coat, the one I had given her just days ago, holding my last heat pack close to her chest like it belonged to her. Jason exhaled slowly.
We don't have enough supplies, Emily.
Chloe's voice followed, soft, sweet, and absolutely venomous.
He's right. 3 people can't survive this winter.
She tilted her head, her lips curling into a faint smile.
You've always been strong, Emily. You'll figure something out, right?
Then, click. The door locked. That was the moment I knew. I had already been abandoned. 3 hours later, I was dead. The cold that night didn't just freeze my body. It carved into me. The wind felt like blades slicing across my skin, tearing through every layer I had left. I had crawled into the rusted shell of an abandoned car, curling into myself, trying, desperately, to hold on to the last bit of warmth. Every breath I exhaled crystallized instantly in the air, turning into tiny shards of ice before my eyes. My fingers had already turned black. I couldn't feel my feet. My thoughts were slipping away, fading into nothing. But the coldest part of all wasn't my body. It was my heart. Just 3 hours earlier, I had been inside that apartment with them. Jason, Chloe, and me. We were college classmates. After graduation, we moved in together, thinking we'd face the world side by side, especially when the sudden global cold wave hit. At least, that's what I believed. 3 days before that night, I gave Chloe my last piece of chocolate. A week before, I risked my life going outside in the freezing storm to find medicine for Jason's fever. I nearly lost 2 fingers to frostbite. I did everything for them. And in the end, they chose each other and threw me away.
Jason.
My voice had been shaking so badly, I barely recognized it.
You said you would protect me.
He still wouldn't meet my eyes.
Emily, this is for the best. For all of us.
A pause. Then, colder than the storm outside,
You should go.
the door shut in my face. And just before everything went silent, I heard Chloe laugh softly.
Finally, it's just the 2 of us.
That was the last thing I heard before I died. 3 hours later, my heart stopped. But my consciousness didn't. Somehow, impossibly, I was still there, floating, watching. Watching my own frozen corpse, stiff and lifeless in the snow. Watching the apartment not far away, where Jason and Chloe held each other close, sharing warmth that should have been mine. I couldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. If I had one more chance. Just one.
I swear.
My voice echoed in the void.
If I could start over, I would make you both pay for this.
I opened my eyes. Bright sunlight hit my face, forcing me to raise my hand to block it. Warmth. Real warmth. I froze. Wait. Sunlight? Warm air? My heart started racing as I looked around. Rows of desks. Students typing. The quiet hum of a university library. I slowly turned to the computer in front of me and saw the date. November 1st, 2035. Exactly 1 month before the world froze over. I was back.
Emily? Hello? Earth to Emily?
A familiar voice snapped me out of it. I turned, and there she was. Chloe Bennett. Perfect makeup. That same innocent smile. Like nothing had ever happened. She nudged my shoulder casually.
Jason's asking if you want to grab hot pot tonight.
My stomach twisted violently. Jason stood a few steps behind her, smiling at me like he always did. Warm. Gentle. Trustworthy. The same face that had watched me freeze to death. This wasn't a dream. This was real. I was reborn. Back to the moment before everything began.
I'm not feeling well.
I forced a weak smile, grabbing my bag quickly.
I'm going back to the dorm.
I didn't wait for their response. I walked out. Fast. Once I was outside, I stopped and pinched my leg hard. Pain shot through me instantly. Real. Too real. Rebirth. It actually happened. But what felt even more real was the memory of that cold and their betrayal. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Then I pulled out my phone, checked my bank balance. $3,215. 60. Exactly the same as before. At this point in my previous life, I had just paid rent. I was barely surviving, stressing over how to make it through the rest of the month. But this time, everything was different. Because I remembered something. Something very important. November 3rd. The lottery numbers. The jackpot that day was over $8 million after tax. And I remembered every single number. Because that day was Jason's birthday. And for some reason back then, I had memorized them. I slowly tightened my grip on my phone. A cold smile spread across my face.
This time,
I whispered to myself,
you're going to learn what it feels like to be the one left outside.
3 days later, wearing a mask and a cap, I walked into a small lottery store on the edge of town. No hesitation. No mistakes. When the numbers were announced, I won. After taxes, over $8 million was transferred directly into my account. The bank manager shook my hand like I was royalty, offering VIP services, investment plans, anything I wanted. But I only had one thought. Stockpile. Prepare. Build. Survive. And then make them pay. After securing the money, I didn't waste a single second. Time was the only thing I didn't have. I found the house on the outskirts of the city. A standalone, 3-story property, far enough from crowded neighborhoods, but still accessible if needed. Exactly what I wanted. The owner was a middle-aged man preparing to leave the country. He was desperate to sell or rent quickly. Perfect. I paid a full year of rent up front in cash. No negotiations. No hesitation.
I need to move in immediately.
I told him.
And I'll need permission to make some renovations.
He looked past me at the line of construction trucks parked behind. His brows furrowed.
What exactly are you planning to do here?
I smiled calmly and handed him an envelope, thick, heavy. Cash always answers questions faster than words.
My family's sensitive to the cold.
I said smoothly.
I just want to reinforce the insulation. Nothing structural.
He hesitated for about 2 seconds, then took the envelope.
Do whatever you want.
The moment I got the keys, everything began. I contacted contractors the same day. No delays. No compromises. Walls were reinforced and thickened. High-density insulation filled every inch of space. All windows were replaced with triple-layer, vacuum-sealed thermal glass, rated for extreme conditions. I installed a radiant floor heating system across all 3 levels. A solar power system went up on the roof. In the basement, I added a diesel generator system powerful enough to keep the house running for months. And most importantly, a full water filtration and storage system. Because in the last life, water ran out faster than food. Every decision I made came from experience, from memory, from dying once already. At the same time, I started stockpiling. Relentlessly. In my previous life, just hours before I died, the snow had already risen above my waist. Stepping outside became impossible. Anyone without enough supplies indoors didn't survive. So this time, I prepared like my life depended on it. Because it did. At a wholesale warehouse store, I pushed 5 carts at once. Employees stared as I cleared entire shelves. Canned food, high-calorie survival rations, instant meals, vacuum-sealed packs. Anything with a long shelf life, I took it. But I didn't stop there. Because I knew something most people didn't. You can't survive months in extreme cold on junk food alone. Your body breaks down. Your immune system collapses. And then you die slowly instead of quickly. So I bought real food. In bulk. Dozens of boxes of frozen shrimp. Hundreds of pounds of chicken. Beef. Pork. Rice in industrial quantities. Flour. Cooking oil. Salt. Sugar. Every basic ingredient needed for long-term survival. I stocked up on protein, carbs, fats, vitamins, everything. Because surviving wasn't enough. I was going to live comfortably. Water? Over 200 cases. Fuel? Propane tanks. Diesel reserves. Backup heating options. Power? Heavy-duty power banks. Portable battery systems. Backup charging units. Lighting? Hundreds of candles. Flashlights. Emergency lanterns. Fire starters? Matches. Lighters. Everything redundant. Everything doubled. Daily essentials. Toilet paper. Hygiene products. Soap. Shampoo. Skincare. Even the small things that most people forget. Because in the apocalypse, those are the things that break you mentally. Medical supplies filled an entire cabinet. Antibiotics. Painkillers. Bandages. Burn creams. And most importantly, frostbite treatment kits. Because last time, I died from the cold. I also bought 10 high-end thermal survival suits. And dozens of heat packs. Layer after layer of protection. No weaknesses. No mistakes. Delivery trucks came non-stop. Day after day. At one point, a driver stood in my garage, staring at the mountain of supplies stacked to the ceiling. He wiped sweat off his forehead.
Miss, are you opening a supermarket or something?
I didn't even blink,
Company holiday distribution.
I said calmly.
Appreciate your help.
He nodded, still confused. But he didn't ask anything else. Good? Every night, I documented everything. Every purchase. Every upgrade. Every plan. Because this wasn't just preparation. This was strategy. On the last page of my notebook, there was a photo. Jason Miller. Chloe Bennett. I had drawn a bold red X across both of their faces. November 15th. 2 weeks before the world would freeze. My shelter was almost complete. The walls were now over a foot thicker, packed with top-tier insulation. The windows were bullet-resistant, triple-sealed. The roof carried a full solar array. The basement housed enough diesel power to last months. And the attic, I turned it into a small indoor greenhouse. Fast-growing vegetables. Self-sustaining food source. Insurance for the long term. I stood in the living room, staring at the thermometer. 72 degrees Fahrenheit inside. For a moment, my body trembled. Because I remembered what minus 94 felt like. Then, my phone rang. I looked down and saw the name. Jason. A slow smile spread across my face. Cold. Controlled. I answered, forcing my voice into something soft. Sweet. Almost nauseating.
Hey, Jason.
Emily, where have you been these past few days? Chloe and I were worried about you.
His voice was exactly the same. Warm. Caring. Fake. I almost laughed.
I've been taking care of my aunt.
I said casually.
She's been sick. I forgot to tell you.
A pause. Then I added,
Hey, how about dinner this weekend? I have something I want to tell you both.
He agreed immediately. Of course he did. After the call ended, I didn't go upstairs. Instead, I walked down into the basement. There was a room I had built specifically for one purpose. The control room. 6 surveillance screens lined the wall, each one showing a different angle of the property. Every blind spot covered. Every approach visible. In my last life, our apartment didn't have cameras. That's how looters got in. That's how everything fell apart. But this time, nothing would catch me off guard. Not strangers. And definitely not Jason Miller or Chloe Bennett. That weekend, I chose the restaurant carefully. Not just any place. A high-end steakhouse downtown. Private rooms. Dim lighting. Expensive enough to make people uncomfortable and curious. Exactly what I needed. I arrived early. Sat by the window. Waited. Jason Miller showed up first. Chloe Bennett followed a few minutes later. Separate. But not really. The moment they stepped into the private dining room I had reserved, I saw it. That flicker in their eyes. Surprise! Curiosity. And something else. Greed.
Emily, wow.
Chloe's gaze swept across the room, lingering on the polished wood table, the wine display, the soft golden lighting. Her smile looked sweet. But I caught the tension in it.
You've been doing well, huh?
I smiled calmly and handed her the menu.
My aunt gave me some money.
I said lightly.
Order whatever you like.
Jason sat across from me, watching quietly. Always observing. Always calculating. Dinner began. And I didn't rush anything. Instead, I watched. Jason reached over more than once, placing food onto Chloe's plate. Chloe laughed softly, her fingers brushing his. Just a second too long to be accidental. And suddenly, everything became painfully clear. How had I missed this before? In my last life, I was blind. Completely blind. Chloe and I had been college classmates. She came from almost nothing. I still remember the nights she sat on her bed, eating plain bread because she couldn't afford anything else. The worn-out clothes. The quiet embarrassment she tried to hide. I felt sorry for her. So I helped. I lent her money. Shared my meals. Bought things for her when she wouldn't ask. Even when I saw her coming back late at night, getting out of expensive cars, walking into hotels with different men, I never judged her. Not once. I thought she was struggling. I thought she had no choice. So I stood by her. Protected her. Trusted her. I told her everything. My secrets. My fears. Even the fact that I liked Jason. And when we finally started dating, I still included her in everything. Shopping trips. Dinners. Weekends. Because I didn't want her to feel left out. Because I thought she was my best friend. What a joke. Now here they were, sitting across from me, laughing, smiling, acting like I didn't exist, like I had never mattered. I picked up my glass slowly. Then, as if it just came to mind, I asked,
Hey, have you guys heard about the temperature drop next week?
Jason shrugged.
It's winter, Emily. That's normal.
I heard it might be extreme, I said casually, lowering my voice just slightly. A friend from the meteorology department mentioned something about an unusual cold front.
I looked at them. Carefully.
You might want to stock up on supplies.
Chloe let out a small laugh. Light. Dismissive.
Since when did you get so paranoid?
She leaned back in her chair, crossing her legs.
If it gets cold, we'll just turn up the heat.
I lowered my gaze, taking a slow sip of my soup, hiding the coldness in my eyes. That's exactly what I used to think. Until the power grid failed. Until the water stopped running. Until heating became a useless word. Jason set his fork down.
By the way, you said you had something to tell us?
Here it comes. I placed my spoon down gently. Let a small, almost shy smile form on my face.
Actually, I got lucky. A small lottery win.
Both of them froze. Just for a second. Then their attention sharpened instantly.
I bought a place outside the city.
I continued casually.
It's nothing huge. Just an investment.
Chloe leaned forward, grabbing my hand before I could pull it back.
Emily, that's amazing. How much did you win?
I tilted my head slightly, then shrugged.
Not that much. Just a few $100,000.
A lie. A very deliberate one. In my last life, I told them everything. Every detail. Every number. And in the end, I was left with nothing. Not this time. Jason's expression shifted slightly. Subtle. But I caught it.
That's a big decision.
He said slowly.
Buying a house out of nowhere?
Investment? I replied smoothly, smiling. You know, trying to be responsible.
Then I leaned back slightly. Relaxed.
You guys should come over this weekend. Housewarming. Saturday. 10 a.m. I'll send you the address.
For a brief moment, they looked at each other. And in that glance, I saw it again. Greed. Calculation. Opportunity.
Of course we'll come.
Chloe said quickly, her voice bright with excitement. Jason nodded.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Of course you would. We finished dinner not long after. Polite smiles. Casual conversation. Like nothing had changed. But everything had, as I watched them walk away together. Side by side. Closer than they should have been. The smile slowly disappeared from my face. Cold. Sharp. Unforgiving. The bait was set. And this time, I wasn't the one walking into the trap. They were. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. I stood in the center of my living room, doing one final check. The fireplace crackled steadily, flames dancing behind reinforced glass. The indoor temperature held perfectly at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Stable. Controlled. Safe. Downstairs, in the storage basement, shelves were lined with supplies. Enough food, water, and daily necessities to sustain one person for 5 full years. Every item categorized. Every section labeled. Every possible shortage already accounted for. In a locked cabinet nearby, I kept something else. A taser. Pepper spray. And a hunting rifle. I had paid a ridiculous amount for it through an unregistered seller. Illegal? Yes. But in the world that was coming, laws wouldn't matter. Survival would. At exactly 10 a.m., the doorbell rang. Right on time. I didn't move immediately. Instead, I walked to the control panel. Tapped the screen. The surveillance feed came alive. Jason Miller stood outside the front door. Chloe Bennett beside him. Jason was holding a bottle of red wine. Chloe was already looking annoyed. Perfect. I opened the door. The cold air brushed past them lightly, but nothing compared to what was coming. Not yet.
Emily, this place is so far out.
Chloe complained the moment she stepped inside. She glanced around, clearly unimpressed.
My Uber cost me over $200.
Quiet out here, I replied calmly. Cleaner air.
Jason handed me the wine.
For you.
Thanks.
I said, smiling lightly.
Perfect timing. We can drink with dinner.
I led them through the house. Carefully. Deliberately. I showed them the living spaces, the bedrooms, the kitchen. But I avoided everything that mattered. No mention of the reinforced walls. No mention of the generator system. No mention of the security upgrades. To them, this was just a nice house. Nothing more. At first, they weren't impressed. That changed the moment we entered the kitchen. Jason stopped, staring at the refrigerator.
Why is this thing so big?
He opened it. Rows of fresh ingredients filled every shelf. Meat. Vegetables. Prepared food. Everything neatly organized. I smiled, pulling out a pack of ingredients.
I like cooking.
I said casually.
How about hot pot tonight?
That caught their interest. Immediately. Dinner started not long after. And just like before, I took control of the pace. I poured drinks. Again. And again. Jason wasn't a heavy drinker. 3 glasses in, his guard started dropping. Chloe's cheeks flushed slightly, her eyes growing softer, unfocused. Good. I leaned back slightly, watching them. Then smiled faintly.
Jason, you and Chloe seem really close lately. I'm kind of jealous.
The reaction was instant. Jason's hand froze. His chopstick slipped and hit the table.
Emily, what are you talking about?
Oh, come on. Chloe cut in quickly, though she instinctively leaned closer to him. Don't misunderstand.
I watched that movement carefully, then let out a small laugh.
Oh, I get it now.
I tilted my head, smiling like I had just figured out a harmless secret.
You've been together for a while, haven't you? Why hide it from me?
Jason looked like he'd just been struck by lightning.
Emily, I can explain.
No need.
I clapped lightly, laughing.
I already knew.
I paused, then added, almost casually.
Actually, I should tell you something too. I have a boyfriend now.
Silence.
He was introduced by my family, I continued smoothly. He helped me financially. Part of this house? His money?
The shift was immediate. Jason's tension loosened. Chloe's eyes lit up again. Relief. Calculation. Something ugly. I could practically hear their thoughts. Good. So she's taken. No competition. And she has money.
Emily, you're unbelievable.
Chloe said, smiling brightly again.
Why didn't you tell us earlier?
She poured herself another drink. Of course she did. Dinner continued. Laughter. Small talk. Pretending. But I was no longer watching their words. I was watching their reactions. Their instincts. Their greed. Halfway through dinner, the wind picked up. At first, it was subtle. A low hum against the windows. Then, it grew louder. The sky darkened unnaturally fast. Clouds gathering like something alive. I stood up slowly and walked toward the window. My heartbeat began to accelerate. No. This was wrong. Too early. In my last life, it didn't start yet. But now, the storm was coming. 3 days ahead of schedule.
Why is the weather suddenly?
Jason didn't finish his sentence. Because outside, boom, hail slammed violently against the roof. The lights went out instantly. Total darkness. Chloe screamed. I didn't panic. I moved. Fast. Straight to the control panel. Backup power activated. Heating system restored. The lights flickered, then stabilized. The house returned to life. Chloe stared at me, wide-eyed.
Emily, what was that?
I kept my expression serious.
Looks like my meteorology friend was right.
I turned to face them.
They said this might be a global cold event. Something extreme. Something long-term.
Jason scoffed.
That's exaggerated. It'll pass in a few days.
I didn't argue. Instead, I turned on the TV. Every channel. Same broadcast. Emergency alerts. Breaking news. A massive polar system moving south. Temperatures expected to drop to record lows nationwide. Authorities urging citizens to stay indoors. Stock up. Prepare. Chloe's face turned pale.
Then we need to get back to the city. Now.
I pointed toward the window.
That's not happening.
They both looked and froze. In less than 15 minutes, the world outside had transformed. Snow blanketed everything, rapidly rising. Roads disappeared. Visibility dropped. And worst of all, the temperature. The outdoor thermometer mounted under the roofline flickered. 4 degrees F. 10 degrees F. 18 degrees F. Still dropping. Jason pulled out his phone, trying to call a ride.
No signal, what the hell?
He tried again. Nothing. I spoke calmly.
You should stay here tonight.
I met their eyes.
The guest rooms are ready.
They exchanged a glance. This time, there was no argument. Just quiet fear. They nodded. I led them upstairs, to the second floor, and stopped at a single room. I opened the door.
This one has the strongest heating.
I said lightly. Then I blinked innocently.
I mean, you two are together anyway, right?
Chloe's face flushed. Jason coughed awkwardly. Neither denied it. Of course they didn't. I stepped back, closed the door behind them. And as the latch clicked into place, the smile slowly returned to my lips. Cold. Precise. Unforgiving. The storm had arrived. And this time, they were exactly where I wanted them to be. I went straight back to the basement. To the control room. With a single tap, the surveillance feeds lit up. 6 screens. 6 angles. Total control. I pulled up the hidden camera inside the guest room. In my last life, after I died, they held each other like nothing had happened. Like I had never existed. This time, I was going to watch everything. Every second. Every crack. Every betrayal. On screen, Jason Miller and Chloe Bennett didn't disappoint. It didn't even take long. Within minutes, they were already in each other's arms. The heater in the room was running. Warm air circulating. And yet, Chloe was still shivering.
Jason, what are we going to do?
Her voice trembled on the edge of panic.
What if the news is real? What if this doesn't stop?
Jason wrapped an arm around her.
It's fine. Relax. I'm here.
His tone was reassuring. His hand, however, was already sliding under her clothes.
We'll stay here for now.
He continued, lowering his voice.
Emily has plenty of supplies. We just wait it out until things get better.
I stared at the screen and felt my stomach twist. The same words. The same behavior. Just earlier, in my last life, they didn't get this close until a week after the cold wave hit. So what changed? Me. My new relationship. My distance. My money. It forced them to drop the act sooner. Good. That just meant everything would unfold faster. I turned off the monitor. I didn't need to see more. Not yet. Night fell. Outside, the wind howled like something alive. Not just noise, but something violent. Something hungry. The temperature kept dropping. I checked the external display. Minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Close. Very close to the temperature that killed me. I pulled my blanket tighter around me. But for the first time, I didn't feel cold. I felt safe. Warm. In control. The next morning, I was woken up by loud knocking. Urgent. Desperate.
Emily, open the door.
Jason's voice. Panicked. I got up slowly. Took my time. Walked to the door. When I opened it, he looked pale. Eyes wide. Hands shaking as he held up his phone.
Everything's down. No signal, no internet, even the TV isn't working.
I didn't react.
Looks like it's worse than we thought.
I said calmly.
Come downstairs. Let's eat first.
At the table, Chloe sat there, refreshing her phone over and over again. Nothing. Tears filled her eyes.
I can't reach my parents.
Her voice cracked.
I don't know if they're okay.
I poured her a cup of hot milk and slid it across the table.
Panicking won't help.
I said evenly.
We need to think about survival now.
Jason suddenly reached out and grabbed my hand.
Emily, you said you knew about this cold wave.
His voice dropped. Tense. Desperate.
Do you know something?
I looked at him. Really looked at him. The fear. The hope. Then I gently pulled my hand away.
My friend studies extreme climate patterns.
I said,
He thinks this could last months.
Month?
Chloe's voice shot up into a scream.
Then what are we supposed to do? Do we even have enough food?
I leaned back slightly.
I usually keep extra supplies.
I said vaguely.
If we ration, we should be fine for a while.
A lie. Carefully measured. Over the next 3 days, the temperature continued to fall. Until finally, it stabilized. Minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Exactly the same as my last life. The world outside stopped. No power. No water. No communication. Everything frozen. Everything silent. Except this house. My house. Powered by solar energy and backed by a diesel generator. It continued running. Perfectly. Inside, Jason and Chloe began to change. At first, they were scared. Then restless. Then irritable. By the 4th morning, I found them in the kitchen. Digging. Searching. Opening cabinets. Looking for something.
What are you doing?
They both jumped. Jason forced a smile.
Just trying to help with breakfast. Couldn't find anything.
I leaned against the door frame. Watched them.
The food is in the basement.
I said calmly.
It's locked. Lower temperature. Better storage.
I paused.
I'll bring up daily portions.
Chloe snapped immediately.
What do you mean locked?
Her voice turned sharp.
You don't trust us?
Supplies are limited.
I replied flatly.
They need to be controlled.
I looked straight at her.
If you're not happy with that,
I gestured toward the door.
you can leave.
Silence. Jason stepped in quickly.
Emily, that's not what she meant.
He took a breath, forcing his tone softer.
We're just worried. If this lasts a long time.
Then you follow my rules.
I turned. Started walking toward the stairs.
Today's food is canned goods and survival rations. Come downstairs.
The basement door was reinforced steel, secured with an electronic lock. I entered the code carefully, blocking their view. The door opened. Cold air spilled out. They followed me inside and froze. Rows. Endless rows. Supplies stacked from floor to ceiling. Perfectly organized. Chloe gasped.
There's so much.
I turned slowly.
This is enough for one person. For 5 years.
I let that sink in.
Now that there are 3 of us,
I smiled faintly.
it might last 2.
Jason's face changed. Subtly. But I saw it. He was calculating. 2 years. 3 people. Or longer. With fewer. That night, everything shifted. No more warmth. No more closeness. Just tension. Through the monitor, I watched them argue.
What are we supposed to do?
Chloe's voice cracked, high and desperate.
It's minus 94 outside. Are we just going to stay here forever with her?
Jason threw his phone aside. Frustration boiling over.
What choice do we have?
She's clearly guarding everything. All those supplies, and she feeds us like dogs.
Chloe wrapped herself tighter in the blanket, shivering.
Are you even a man? She does whatever she wants, and you just follow? I thought you said she liked you, so why can't you get more food from her?
Jason snapped. The slap echoed through the room.
Shut up.
Silence. Chloe froze. And just like that, she became quiet. A moment passed. Then Jason spoke again. Lower. Darker.
If it were just the 2 of us.
He didn't finish. He didn't have to. I turned off the screen. My heart was racing. It was happening. Again. Only this time, I wasn't the one being sacrificed. They were. I leaned back in my chair, exhaled slowly, and smiled. This was exactly what I wanted. I glanced at the time. 10 p.m. Dinner earlier had been the same for all of us. Minimal. Controlled. But now, I was hungry. And unlike them, I had options.
In this kind of weather,
I murmured to myself.
nothing beats something hot.
I walked into the kitchen, took out a large bowl. Seaweed. Green onions. A spoon of oil. Soy sauce. A splash of vinegar. A pinch of salt. Then, I poured in steaming broth. Finally, dumplings. Perfectly cooked. Soft. Fragrant. The smell alone filled the room. Warm. Comforting. Alive. I sat down, took a bite, and closed my eyes. Outside, the world was frozen. Inside, I was thriving. After finishing my meal, I wrapped myself in blankets, turned on a show, and lay back comfortably. Warm. Safe. And waiting. Because this time, I wasn't just surviving the apocalypse. I was controlling it. I woke up late the next morning. 11:07 a.m. For a moment, I just lay there. Warm. Comfortable. Safe. Then I smiled. Because somewhere else in this house, two people were slowly falling apart. I grabbed my phone and opened the surveillance app. Guest room camera. There they were. Jason Miller and Chloe Bennett. Sitting close together. Whispering. Plotting. Of course they were. Those two? Every thought they had was selfish. Every instinct, survival first. I watched silently. Outside, the snow had piled up almost to the windows. The world beyond the glass was barely visible anymore. Just white. Endless white. The storm hadn't slowed down at all. Huge chunks of snow fell relentlessly from the sky. Like the world itself was being buried alive. 3 days. That's all it took. 3 days ago, they were scared. Now, they were restless. Irritable. Unstable. Like animals trapped in a cage. Good. That's exactly where I wanted them. At breakfast, Chloe made her move first. She walked over to me, one hand pressed against her stomach, the other looping around my arm.
Emily.
Her voice turned soft. Sweet. Artificial.
Can I have a little more food today? I haven't been feeling well. My stomach.
I took a slow bite of my compressed ration bar. Chewed. Swallowed. Then looked at her.
Supplies are limited.
I said calmly.
Everyone gets the same amount.
I tilted my head slightly.
If you're not feeling well, I can get you some medicine.
Her smile stiffened. Before she could respond, Jason slammed his spoon down on the table.
Emily, what the hell is this?
His voice was sharp. Frustrated.
Are we prisoners here now?
I raised my eyes slowly. Looked straight at him. This man. The one I once loved so desperately. Now? His face was filled with anger. And underneath it, fear. It was beautiful.
Jason, what are you saying?
I let my expression soften. Hurt. Innocent.
I'm just trying to make sure we all survive longer.
I gestured lightly toward the front door.
If you're not happy, you're free to leave.
Silence. Instant. His anger collapsed. Because he knew. Outside was death. And inside, I was the only reason he was still breathing.
I didn't mean it like that.
His tone dropped immediately. Weaker.
I'm just worried about Chloe.
Then, like he needed to defend his pride, his voice rose again.
She's not well, and she's your best friend, isn't she? What's yours is hers, right?
He scoffed.
Didn't expect you to be this selfish.
I almost laughed. The audacity. In my last life, when they threw me out, I didn't see even a fraction of this concern. I swallowed the disgust rising in my throat. Forced a gentle smile.
I understand.
I said softly.
How about this? I'll make some hot soup for lunch. That should help.
Their eyes lit up instantly. Hope. So easy to manipulate. I made a mental note. Hunger was a powerful weapon. After lunch, I deliberately asked Jason to help me clean up. In the kitchen, I moved closer. Then, accidentally brushed my hand against his.
Oh, sorry.
I pulled back quickly, lowered my gaze, let my cheeks flush just enough. Jason froze. I saw it. That flicker in his eyes. Confusion. Temptation. Calculation. I knew exactly what he was thinking. Does Emily still have feelings for me? Can I use that?
Emily,
He stepped closer, reaching for my hand.
Jason.
Chloe's voice cut through the moment. Sharp. Piercing. She stood at the kitchen doorway, staring at us. Eyes burning.
Can you help me find my scarf?
Jason pulled back instantly.
Yeah, coming.
He left in a hurry. I turned back to the sink, continued washing dishes, and slowly smiled. It had begun. That night, I prepared everything. Snacks from the basement, peanuts, seeds, fresh fruit. I sat comfortably by the fireplace, wrapped in warmth. Then opened the surveillance feed. Right on cue. They were already fighting. Chloe was on the floor, crying, shaking.
What were you doing in the kitchen?
She screamed. Jason lay on the bed, scrolling his phone. Didn't even look at her.
Doing dishes.
He said flatly.
Can you stop being paranoid?
That was enough. Chloe snapped. She lunged at him, grabbing his hair, shaking him violently.
I saw it. She touched your hand.
Her voice broke into something hysterical.
When did you start messing around with her again? Do you still like her?
Jason didn't answer. And that silence was louder than anything. Chloe froze. Tears streamed down her face.
So that's it.
Her voice dropped, shattered.
We're stuck here relying on her. And now you want to dump me too?
Jason finally sighed. Annoyed. Cold.
Keep your voice down. We still need her.
His words were blunt. Practical. Cruel.
Can you use your brain for once?
That was the final blow. I watched the screen. Watched her expression collapse. And then I turned it off. I didn't need to see more. I already knew what would happen next. The seed had been planted. Doubt. Jealousy. Fear. All it needed now was time. I leaned back against the couch, closed my eyes, completely satisfied. Because this time, I wasn't the one being torn apart. They were. The next morning, I noticed it immediately. Chloe Bennett's eyes were swollen, red, puffy. She had cried all night. Jason Miller, on the other hand, wouldn't even look at her. Perfect. I walked into the kitchen like nothing had happened.
Seems like it's not as cold today.
I said casually, pouring myself a drink.
I heard the cold wave might end within a week.
That got their attention. Instantly. Chloe's head snapped up.
Really?
She rushed toward me, grabbing my hand.
We can go home soon?
I gave a small shrug.
Maybe.
Then I added, slowly,
But if that's the case, we should conserve supplies. Just in case.
Jason's eyes flickered. Calculating again.
Emily,
He hesitated.
if this ends, what are you planning to do?
I pretended to think. Just long enough.
Maybe I'll go abroad.
I smiled faintly.
To be with my boyfriend.
I let my gaze drift around the house.
This place, I'll probably sell it.
That did it. I saw it. That look. Jason and Chloe exchanged a glance. Greed. Pure. Undisguised. In my last life, they abandoned me for survival. This time, what would they do for money? Over the next few days, I kept playing my little game. I gave Jason slightly larger portions. Chloe, less. I wore lighter clothes around Jason, just enough to suggest vulnerability, but gave Chloe the thickest blankets. And sometimes, I would casually bring up old college memories right in front of her. Memories where Jason used to choose me. Slowly, carefully, I watched her break. Day 5. She finally snapped. She stormed into the kitchen. Face twisted. Eyes wild.
Emily Carter. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? You're trying to seduce Jason. And you're starving me.
I turned slowly, blinking in confusion.
Chloe, what are you talking about?
Don't play dumb.
She screamed.
You're jealous of me. You always have been. You're just a pathetic.
Enough.
Jason rushed in, grabbing her arm.
Have you lost your mind? This is the only place we can survive.
Chloe shoved him away, laughing hysterically. Oh, so now you're defending her?
I knew it. You've been sneaking around behind my back this whole time.
Her breathing became erratic, unstable. Then, she grabbed a fruit knife from the table, pointed it straight at me. For a split second, everything went still. Jason stepped in front of me.
Chloe, put it down.
The irony almost made me laugh. In my last life, he pushed me to my death. Now, he was protecting me. Too late. Chloe broke completely.
You both want me dead, don't you? Fine. I'll leave.
She turned and ran straight for the door. Jason hesitated. Just 1 second. That was all it took. He didn't follow. Instead, he muttered,
It's freezing out there. She'll come back. She just needs to calm down.
I walked to the window, watched Chloe's figure disappear into the storm. The snow was already up to her chest. The wind, violent, relentless. At that temperature, without proper gear, 10 minutes. That's all she had. Behind me, Jason sat frozen on the couch.
Are you not going after her?
I asked lightly. He avoided my gaze.
She'll come back.
He repeated it. Again. And again. Like, if he said it enough, it would become true. I looked at the temperature display. Calm. Peaceful.
No, I thought. She won't.
First target, eliminated. An hour later, Jason finally broke. He paced back and forth, checking the door every few minutes. Then finally, he turned to me.
Emily, should we?
His voice trembled.
Go look for her?
I let out a soft laugh.
Look for her.
I tilted my head.
Like you did for me?
His face went white.
What are you talking about?
I stood up slowly, walked to the drawer, pulled out a notebook, flipped to the last page. Then, read it aloud.
December 3rd, 2035. Minus 94 degrees. Emily Carter was forced out of her apartment by Jason Miller and Chloe Bennett and froze to death.
Silence. Jason stumbled backward. No, that's impossible. I looked at him, completely calm.
I died once, Jason. And I came back just to watch how you die.
His legs gave out. He dropped to his knees. Emily, please. I was wrong. I lost my mind. It was her, Chloe. She seduced me. I always loved you. I walked past him to the control panel and turned off the heating in the guest room. No. I spoke quietly. You were perfectly clear. You knew what minus 94 meant. And you still chose to push me out. He crawled toward me, reaching, begging. Please, don't do this. I stepped back, smiled. Do you know why I kept you alive this long? He froze. Because I wanted you to feel what Chloe felt. Right before she died, I pressed the door unlock button. The door swung open. A blast of freezing wind tore into the room. No, Emily, please. 3 years together, doesn't that mean anything? Love? I laughed softly. You don't deserve that word. Get out. Suddenly, he lunged toward the kitchen, toward the knives. But I was faster. From beneath the couch cushion, I pulled out the shotgun and aimed it straight at him. Guess why I bought this? His face collapsed. All color drained. He backed away, step by step, until he reached the door. You'll regret this. He shouted. I clicked the safety off. No. This is your consequence. The door slammed shut behind him. Silence returned. I walked slowly back to the control room. Watch the screen. Jason stumbled into the storm. Fell. Got up. Fell again. Then disappeared. Completely. 2 hours later, I found them. In different directions. 2 frozen bodies. Chloe, curled beneath a tree, her face twisted in fear. Jason, collapsed less than 500 meters from the house. His hand stretched forward, as if he almost made it back. Almost. I turned off the monitor, walked into the kitchen, and poured myself a cup of hot chocolate. I took a slow sip. Warm. Sweet. Perfect. Revenge. Tasted even better than I imagined. 3 days later, the temperature finally started to rise. Minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Minus 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Slowly. Painfully slow. But rising. A week later, it reached minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Still deadly, but no longer absolute death. For the first time since everything began, stepping outside was possible. I put on one of my thermal suits, layer by layer. Careful. Deliberate. Then, I opened the door. The cold air hit me instantly. Sharp. Fighting. But it didn't scare me anymore. I stepped out. Snow stretched endlessly in every direction. The world, silent, buried, and yet beautiful. Sunlight reflected off the snow. So bright, it almost hurt to look at. I stood there for a long moment, breathing in the cold air. Alive. Truly alive. When I returned inside, I went straight to the fireplace and took out the notebook. The one I had used to record everything. Every preparation. Every calculation. Every step of my revenge. I flipped the last page. Jason Miller. Chloe Bennett. Their names were still there. Crossed out. Final. Without hesitation, I threw the notebook into the fire. The flames swallowed it whole, page by page, turning everything into ash. The ashes rose and scattered in the air, like the hatred I carried from my last life. Gone. Completely gone. At that moment, the TV flickered. Static. Then, signal. A news anchor appeared on screen. Excited. Breathless. The extreme cold event is officially over. Government rescue teams are being deployed. Survivors are advised to remain indoors and wait for assistance. I watched quietly. Not relieved. Not emotional. Just calm. Because I already knew I had survived. Not by luck, but by choice. I looked at the temperature display. The numbers kept climbing. Higher. Higher. A new world was beginning. And this time, I wasn't the same person. I wouldn't trust blindly. Wouldn't love recklessly. Wouldn't sacrifice myself for people who would trade me for survival. Rebirth didn't just give me revenge. It gave me something far more valuable. Control. The power to choose who lives in my world and who doesn't. Outside, the ice began to melt. Slowly. Quietly. Water dripped from the edges of the roof. The first signs of change. Of life returning. I leaned back against the couch. Closed my eyes. For the first time in both of my lives, I felt at peace. But not soft. Never soft again. Because I understood something now. The world doesn't end in a single moment. It changes. Breaks. Rebuilds. And sometimes, it gives you a second chance. Not to forgive, but to become someone stronger. Someone untouchable. I opened my eyes and looked at the security monitors. The camera's still running. Still watching. Always watching. Because even though this storm had passed, I knew something else was coming. Something bigger. Something worse. And when it did, I would be ready. This time, I wouldn't just survive the end of the world. I would own it.